Hey everyone, welcome to Fit Chicks Chat. I'm Amanda Quinn.
And I'm Laura Jackson.
And today's podcast is our Thursday podcast. So what that means is it is a business podcast.
Boo yeah, boo yeah.
So what we are going to be talking about today is all about why you need to learn to repel certain people from your business so that you can start making more impact and more income.
Yeah.
And I know you're thinking right now, okay, but like, the idea of being in business is not to repel people, it's to attract people, Amanda. Like, why am I trying to repel people from my business? And so really the simple answer is it's all about niche marketing. One of the biggest problems that so many people have in business, especially with online businesses, is that they are trying to attract everybody. So you hear it all the time, Laura. Like I know you hear it too, like with our clients, with our fitness and nutrition experts, students, like our grads, or like some of our online biz builder lab students, like where they're like, but I want to help men, and I want to help women, and I want to help children, and I want to help seniors, and I want to help dogs, and I want to help this, and I want to help everybody. I want to help anybody that will hear me out because my mission in life is to serve and to help people, right?
Yeah.
And that's amazing that that is your like heart telling you that that is so important. And I couldn't agree with you more that like the more people we can impact in this world, the better. But the problem is that when you start going at it from a perspective of, I want to help everybody, what happens is your messaging gets mixed up. It gets confusing. Your platform is not set in place. Like you are not seen as an expert in the area. So what we need to do is start niche marketing. So we need to actually start looking at it from a niche perspective. So Laura, can you define what I mean? Can you explain to everyone what I mean by niche marketing?
Well, okay, I want to explain this in kind of two different ways. So like your niche is essentially, it's your one specific kind of target audience that you are speaking to. So there's a couple of different, like people will be like, oh, my niche is like, let's say moms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I do postnatal fitness. So moms who have had a baby, maybe okay, let's use that one. Postnatal fitness. It's very broad. Yeah. Now, that still too it is a niche. It's a form of like, you're not just saying, oh, I just train women who are pregnant and I train women who are not pregnant and I train women who have not had a baby and had a baby and who do this.
Yeah.
So that's one kind of area of a niche. But to get really specific, we like to drill it down even further. So it's like, you know, I train women who have had babies, who are postnatal. So you would want to say, okay, I train, let's say, stay-at-home moms who have had a baby within the last, like moms who are on mat leave, who have had a baby within the last, 6 months, how to, get back into shape, deal with diastasis recti, like whatever, like more and more niche. So the more niche you can be, the clearer it's going to be for the people who are hearing you to say like, yes, that's me, like raise their hand and be like, yes, that's me.
Exactly.
Now I want to preface this by saying one thing though, and this is a question that I get asked a lot.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, but I don't just want to train stay-at-home moms who are postnatal, who have only had a baby within the last year, because that will then limit me to what I can do. And my whole response to that is, that doesn't need to be your entire business. But if you are going to create a program, so for example, you might train women too, maybe you are a pre and postnatal specialist. Maybe you also do have clients who are prenatal. Maybe you also do have clients who are, who are trying to have a baby, who are currently pregnant. Maybe that's kind of your specialty. But when we talk about niche marketing, it's really important, especially when it comes to your programs. So your business as a whole can target different areas. So
but they should still speak. Your business should still speak to the same demographic.
Oh, totally. You don't want to be like, oh, I train, like, for example, I train, men, women, kids, blah, 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 blah. But if that is something that you're so passionate about inside of you, that's okay. But you have to focus on one specific area, and your programs have to be very clear about the specific problem they're solving for that specific niche. So even for us, for example, we have the Fitness and Nutrition Expert program, which targets women who are not fitness instructors who want to become certified fitness and nutrition coaches and build amazing businesses. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's more for women who do not want to work at a gym. They want to open their own business. They want to get certified.
Yeah.
Do we still have women that take our program that want to work at a gym? Yes, but they're not our specific target. But then we also have our holistic nutrition weight loss expert program, which is for women who are either already certified or are just getting in the industry and they want to become nutrition and health coaches. So we are targeting two different things, but it's under the same umbrella of the niche is women who want to get certified to work in fitness and nutrition. So this is where I get that question a lot, and it can be a little bit confusing because maybe you don't want to just talk about postnatal fitness for women, but you created a really amazing program that's going to be one section of it. But then maybe you do have something for women who are currently pregnant. You know what I mean? Like, but you have to keep your messaging consistent, and you have to have, especially around your specific programs, like your niche has to be very specific around your programs.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. That was a great explanation. Now, what about though, like, and I just had a call actually with one of our students in our fitness and nutrition expert program, and they were like, okay, cool. Like, I want to work with people that have anxiety. Then I also want to work with people that have depression. And then I want to work with both though. I don't want to not work with one or the other for my signature program. And my answer to them was like, if in order for you to make the most impact, you have to choose one. And the reason why, and this is, I'm going to explain the reason why, guys, the reason why repelling clients is actually going to help you make more impact. Because if your messaging out there, if that was your goal, was to work with people with anxiety or people with depression, and your message to those people was, okay, one day you're sending an email to your list that's like, here are 5 strategies for reducing anxiety naturally. Somebody who maybe has depression, but maybe they're not dealing with anxiety issues, they're going to be like, well, that doesn't relate to me at all.
Yeah.
And then the next day, say you send an email that's like, about depression, like, and I'm just using general terms, but it's like 5 tips for reducing depression. Someone with anxiety might be like, but I don't relate to that. And then now they unfollow. And then what you're doing is you're actually repelling them on your own without actually having a focus.
Completely.
So it's like, you're repelling clients either way, but this way, by repelling them by keeping focused on one area, you're actually able to strengthen that relationship with that group. And then you can eventually, and my answer to her was exactly what you said. I said, like, you can work with just people with anxiety right now and develop this signature program and have this amazing program, but under the umbrella of your business, maybe after this one is up and running and you have this online program and the strategy is there and it's sort of like on evergreen or whatever, and it's like, it's set in stone, then maybe you develop a separate program specifically under your business umbrella that is like, Amanda's health and wellness. And under that umbrella, you then develop a signature program specifically for people with depression. So then you can have 2 messages, but then you have to attract a different group with a different lead magnet, have a different list so you can talk to those people. You need to be able to separate it, because if you don't, you're going to confuse them and you're going to repel them on your own anyways, but without actually attracting your ideal clients.
Completely. And it makes your life a lot easier too, because
100%.
you know what you want to talk about. Like, you have the premise of like every email you're going to send out, every piece of material you're going to create, every podcast you do, every Facebook post you do. Like, if you're like, okay, am I talking to anxiety and depression? Then every day you're flipping back and forth. It makes your life. But when you're like, okay, I'm talking about how to naturally heal anxiety, or how to naturally manage anxiety. So then, every single post, every single conversation is around that. So it's going to really help you not only attract the people, but you as a business owner. Because the thing is, guys, one thing we focus a lot about in the academy too is not just teaching you guys the how, we focus on you as a person. Because not only are you involved in your business, you are your business, but also you're going to go through all these changes emotionally as you are building your business, as you are getting certified, as you're doing anything in life. And we understand that. That's the difference between, I think one of the major differences between our academy versus a lot of other certification bodies out there is that there's such a personal growth aspect to it as well.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that you're set up for success and you're not feeling like, because building a business can be very overwhelming. It can feel very like you are like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm all over the place. And so the things that will help you stay focused, not only are these the things that are going to get you results, but it's going to make your life and your stress levels a lot lower. a lot lower. Because then
Definitely.
like, this is what I want to talk about. The other thing that I want to say, this is like a super huge, like, for me, I heard this last week, and I literally had like this aha, like, and to do with business. And it made me, well, it was to do with branding. And it made me like, so I was just like, when you hear things over and over again, but like when you hear them again, when you're meant to hear them, it's like,
Yes.
like,
it's like
I could read the same book.
At the ClickFunnels, and he's talking about the hook story offer mentality, like of marketing. And I was like, I've heard this for like 5 years,
Yeah.
like 4 years, like over and over and over again. And I understood it. But the way he said it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to go and do this right now. I understand it to like a level that I never understood before. It just hits you sometimes like a ton of bricks.
Really. And it's like, and also I think we're at different times, we're ready to receive different information. Like sometimes we hear something, we're not ready yet to receive it, or we don't know enough yet. Cause like the other thing I want to say before I tell you my nugget, is that, guys, if you're hearing this and you're like, oh my gosh, niche marketing, all this sounds overwhelming, I don't even know what she's talking about, it's freaking me out. Don't worry, all this stuff is learnable. Like Amanda and I are self-taught in the entire area of internet marketing. We've hired coaches, we've Googled, we've read, we listen to podcasts. Like, it's not like we have an MBA from Harvard. It's not like we've learned all this stuff in business school. No,
and even if we did, it would be like obsolete probably now anyways, because it changes so much.
No, and we did business courses. We went to school for business, but literally like how long ago? 20 years ago. So what we learned was, I went to school for marketing, and they talked about the idea of like buying ads in a magazine, which I don't even know if they still even sell ads in magazines, like buying a newspaper ad. Like who even does that? but barely, and it won't be around much longer. And so anyway, so what we've done is we've learned it all on our own. So I just want you guys to know, if you're hearing this before we keep going forward, please do not, if you're feeling overwhelmed, please know that this is a learnable skill. Anything to do with internet marketing is a learnable skill. You just have to be open to learning about it. Okay. So niche marketing, if you just were like, oh, what does she mean? I just want to teach fitness. No, don't worry. But once you start to learn about these things, it's going to change your life, change your business game, and make you successful. So that's why you need to learn about it. Yeah. But the nugget that I heard, the nugget that I heard the other day, which I was like, oh my God. So it was talking about branding, and it was saying that there are 2 types of people that we want to work with, that anyone wants to work with. And it's either people who are like you or people you want to be like. And that for me was like the biggest, because I know you and I've talked about, in terms of even from a niche marketing perspective, what to talk about on social media. Because we always feel like we're like, should I talk about fitness? Should I talk about nutrition? Should I be totally transparent and sharing behind the scenes? Should I be doing this? Like, it's this whole idea of like, we're still learning that game too. So don't worry if you're not feeling like you're 100% mastered it. But it was saying how even when you're talking about the idea of even when you're doing your personal branding, is that people want to work with people who are either like them or who they either want to be like. So you need to create that space. So when it's your niche, for example, if you're dealing with someone with anxiety, they want to know that you have either been in their spot, or you have worked with people in their spot, or you have overcome anxiety and they want to be like you. And this for me was like a total like, oh my God, because it's like, and I mean, it's funny too, because you and I have talked about this for years and years and years and years. But not in this context. And I was like, oh my gosh. And that's what even the girl was saying. She's like, so even when, yes, you want to be transparent on social media, but you have to remember, people have to feel like they are either like you when they're watching it, or they want to be like you. So if you're doing stuff that people are like, I don't even get that, and I don't like, she looks ghetto, they're like, forget it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but for me, it was just like, oh my gosh. And from a programming perspective for our students and for niche marketing, I was like, this is so think about that when you're creating your programming, like as you're delivering it and as you're delivering your messaging, what can I offer, or what can I do that someone is going to be, that I'm going to enjoy, like they're like me, I'm going to like working with them, or that I am a little bit further ahead on that journey and I can help them to really get there. They will want to be like me. Yeah. So I was like, when I heard that, I was like,
no, it's so great. And like, be like me doesn't have to necessarily mean like they want to be like you, like emulate you. It's more like they want to get
not superficial shit. Like,
that's what I mean. Like, it's like, I want to be like you to like have the same outcome, the same transformation. I want to end up in like the same position as you because you
Well,
have,
and that's the other thing with, there are two different types of people. There's the people when you covet someone else, and like that's where like the Kardashians and all that come in, when people are like watching, like I want to be like them. There's a
yeah,
difference between I want to be at the place that you're at. I want to have the relationship that you have. I want, and not saying like I want to be with your partner, but I want to have it with my partner. I
yeah,
want to, you know, I want to move past my anxiety. I want to become a certified fitness professional, and you've done that successfully. It's not saying I want to be Laura Jackson. I want to look like her, have my hair like her, wear her shirt. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I want that outcome. And
Mm-hmm.
in business, you need that though. You need to present that there is the Oz at the end of the road. There
Yeah.
is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, because if you don't, that's what people are buying. They're not buying that you put together a really great program on anxiety, right?
No, 100%. I can't agree anymore. But yeah, like I think it has to be that part. You have to include that part for sure. And I think too, going back to like the whole niche stuff too, like, and this kind of ties into what you were just saying, like one of the other things that by getting specific about your niche that it's going to help you do is also figure out what you want to be known for.
Totally.
Like as an expert, to have that sort of like stamp of like expertise in that one area. Because again, if you're trying to help everybody and you're trying to, I'm like, I work with seniors and I work with dogs and I work with children and I work with men and I work with women, you're just kind of known as like a fitness professional. And this is an area that so many, especially online professionals, do wrong, for lack of a better word, or like lack in, is that they're not focused enough. So then they get lost in that saturated market. I hear this all the time. How am I going to make any money in this industry? It's such a saturated marketplace. Yeah, it is. There's a ton of amazing health professionals out there,
Mm-hmm.
health fitness professionals, but the thing is that they're all doing that. They're all keeping it so that it's all general. It's not specific enough. So then you are kind of like, you have to build something to make you stand out somehow, some way amongst that mass of people, versus if you get very niche and very specific and you become known for that person as like, you are known as the professional who can help you deal with anxiety naturally. All of a sudden it becomes so much more clear. It becomes so much easier for people to find you. It becomes so much easier for people to see that that is your expertise and that is exactly what you can provide. That's the transformation you can provide, versus I can provide a transformation for anxiety. I can provide a transformation for depression. I can provide a transformation for whatever, sleep issues or whatever. Like if you're trying to do it all, it gets really confusing, and then you don't have that platform to stand on as an expert in that area. When you get niche, you then have that platform, that base, and then you can be known for one thing. So I always think like Julie Stone talked about this. She's like, what do you want to, like, if someone was to like Google you, like, how do you want to stand out? Like, what is it that you want to be known for? So think about that from that perspective as you're trying to think of the niche market you want to get into. Start thinking about it from that perspective of like, if I was going to Google myself, what do I want to show up next to my name? Like Amanda Quinn, expert in blah. And then that'll help you really identify the area as well as thinking about the clients you want to work with and who you can help. But like that'll really help you kind of figure out the piece of like the expertise level.
Completely. And that's one thing that like, we're in a really interesting time because we all do have access to such a massive platform. Like anyone can grab their phone and build a massive following starting tomorrow and have a huge impact or a huge voice in this world. Whereas before there was a very select few and we were only getting a certain amount of people's opinions and all these things. But like, that's the one thing though, guys, like as Amanda's saying it, like you have to start to figure out what is going to make you stand out, because, and that will come from, first of all, your niche, and then you can figure out what your voice is going to be within that niche. But because it is a saturated market, but it's not. Every industry that is saturated, I actually look at it like this. An industry that's saturated means that there is a need there because it's busy. It means there's a lot of business, right?
It's $1 billion industry, the health and wellness field.
The weight loss industry is a $66 billion industry in the US alone. $66 billion.
And it's an industry that never, ever
will go away.
Like it never goes away. And like even during like our recessions and things like that, people still invest in it because it's the one area that like people know they need to invest in is their health. So it is saturated because there is a need for it. I agree. What I meant by saturation is more just like that you get lost in the shuffle if you don't niche market, if you don't have a specific audience speaking to, and you're just trying to speak to everybody. You're like, but I just want any clients. I don't want to repel anybody. I just want to have any clients that I can help. It's like,
but it's also like real
market.
talk, guys, like you need to get out of your mindset that this is a saturated market, because that's also a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief that is your self-doubt making you not move forwards. But the one thing though is you do have to figure out what will make you stand out within that niche market. And that's why the more you can niche, the better. Because, for example, like there are people out there who have huge followings who don't even have certifications, who are on like Instagram and things like that. But they figured out their niche. They figured out who they're speaking to. So if like you are a fitness professional, let's say Emily Skye, who she does like getting your body back after baby, like that's her. So her whole following is moms, and like she knows who her niche is. She knows who she's using it for. So like that's a really good example too of understanding like the power of niche marketing. So it doesn't mean, I'm not saying that Emily Skye is not a great fitness professional, but there's a lot of people out there who don't even have certifications who are selling fitness products and doing fitness things and doing these things because they've tapped into the power of understanding their niche. They understand who they are as a brand. They understand who they're talking to, who wants to be like them, and who also is like them. Right? So for you guys, like think about it in the sense of, as you're trying to figure out your niche, think about who you would like to work with, like not just who you want to have as your, like what you want to be known for, because it has to be authentic to you. And this is something I actually had this conversation with a student not long ago. She's like, well, I really want to be known for, you know, working with women with eating disorders. And I was like, okay. I was like, so tell me a little bit about what is your experience, your personal experience in life with working with, or with eating disorders, or with, and she's like, well, I just think it's such an area we need help with. And I was like, to be totally honest with you, I think that's great. And I do think that once you have some clients and behind you, but like, it is going to be very hard for you to build up your business without having like either that personal experience, that experience with family members, that experience already with clients. And then of course, you know, because people who are going through that, they want to work with people who understand what they're going through. So it's kind of like, okay, use it as kind of your checks and balances too. Like, you know, well, is that really what I want to be? Or am I saying that I want to be working with that niche because I think that that's what needs the most help, or where it could make the most money or whatnot. So try to find the things. I always say there's strength in your story. Always go back to your story. Like for me, you know, I've built with you a, you know, multi-million-dollar fitness business. You know, we've built sold out online programs. We've had multiple huge launches. Like, guys, it hasn't always been like that. There's been a lot of blood and sweat and tears. We're going to do another podcast about that. But, you know, I can say to people, I can help you do this because I've done that. And then, you know what I mean? So it's like going back to your story. Like, even for me, I talk a lot about my personal battle with an eating disorder. So when I can talk to clients who've gone through it, I can understand what they're going through. And I'm not saying you have to have an eating disorder, but whether it was like someone with your family or some sort of personal story, because that will build that connection.
Agreed.
You need that with your niche.
Agreed, 100%. So just to wrap this up, I just want to go back to the whole idea of, but I still just feel fearful of repelling clients, because what if there isn't, and someone asked me this the other day, they said, what if there isn't enough people that would need my help?
Oh my gosh.
In my niche. And I just want, like, it's funny, when I was having the call, I actually Googled on my phone. I pulled up my phone and I Googled while I was talking to them. I was like, okay, so you want to focus on this one area. Just in the United States alone, based on these stats, there are over X amount of million, I think it was like 8.1 million people that have been clinically diagnosed with this. And she was like, oh. And I was like, so if you don't think that 8.1 million people is enough people for you to work with, and you want more, that's just the US. So you're cool, you're fine. Because globally, I'm sure it's going to be, 100 times that. Yeah. So I'm like, I wouldn't be too concerned about the number of people. So when you think about, but I don't want to repel people, I'm nervous because then if I'm saying no to clients, like we have men that have reached out to us guys that are like, I want to take your program. And we're like, no, I'm sorry. That's not you're not our market. And it's not because we don't love working with men or anything else, but that's not our market. That's not who we speak to. That's not who we've developed our programs for. We've developed all of our certification programs specifically for women, because we talk about, certain areas. And we also understand that women are more like emotion-based with certain things. And we want it to be more of a free space for women to really talk about a lot of things that come up throughout
And just
the
a
program.
side note that too, though, that's who we want to work with. That's who fires us up.
I was going to say,
I've tried training men before, and it was like the most awkward experience for me, because it's not what my calling is. You know what I mean? Like, I love working with women. I relate to women. My passion is to help lift women up, get them unstuck in their health, in their business, and all of those things. And I know that, but and just to go back, a little side note story, which I was going to talk about on another podcast too, but like, we've even been told, like, we almost had someone someone did tell us that we should open a men's side called Fit Dudes.
Yeah.
There was another word too that he said that was very inappropriate.
Derogatory.
Think about chicks. What would you say if you were going to do the male version? Anyways. So we were just like, but this was a large investor. We had gotten a deal on the Dragon's Den. We were going through due diligence, and this was at the point where we were being told, this is what you need to do to grow your business and blah, blah, blah. And for a moment we considered it. We did consider it. We talked about it. We were like, but I'm like, this is not what, this is not what we want to do. This is not who we want to work with. This is not the purpose of our mission.
We didn't actually say we would ever go with men. We said we would look at, they wanted us to also open it up to pregnant women and all that kind of, and that was against what we were doing too, because we just felt like it was too high risk for our comfort. And it wasn't that pregnancy is high risk. It was just more of like for our comfort level, again, just knowing that there is certain care that is required for prenatal. We just didn't want to go that route and put any risk. Like, that was just like a personal decision on our part.
But it was very much like somebody else trying to tell you what you think you need to be doing. And really, that's where it's like, if you're feeling unsure or fearful about just do the work. First of all, just sit down and think about who you really want to work with, who you can really help. Think about your story. Think about how you could take someone through a transformation. And then, you know what, guys, there are so many clients out there. It is insane. Like, it is insane.
Yeah.
There are so many people out there who need help. There are so many people out there who, even when you have 100 people, let's say, in your program, and you think that sounds like a lot of people, when you think that in all of Canada, there's 35 million people. In the state of California, there's 35 million people, much less the rest of the US. 100 people is a drop in the pan. Like, you could find a lot more people who are like that.
Yep.
So don't worry about that.
Exactly. So don't let the idea of repelling clients hold you back, because the reality is, again, like I said earlier, the reality is that if you are general marketing, if you're marketing generalization of, I work with men, women, dogs, I work with people with anxiety, with depression, with sleep problems, this and that, you're already repelling them on your own.
Yeah.
But what you're doing is you're repelling them without attracting anyone, because you are constantly changing your messaging and changing the information. So instead, look at a way that you can get really focused, get really niche, get really specific, and then actually just start to begin to attract your ideal client and develop your platform as an expert in that specific area, so that you can keep making more impact and more income. All right. On that note, guys, we are going to wrap this up. So thank you so much for listening. And of course, if you are interested in continuing to develop your business and you want to learn more, we invite you to join our Facebook group. Laura, where can they find our Facebook group?
It's on Facebook. It's Fit Chicks Academy Online Biz Builders. So you can search the group, or it's called Build Your Online Fitness and Nutrition Biz with Fit Chicks. So Fit Chicks Academy Online Biz Builders. If you search that, you should find it. If not, Build Your Online Fitness and Nutrition Biz with Fit Chicks Academy.
And that is where you can join us, where we do weekly coaching calls. We dive in there all the time, do lots of Q&As, answer questions, and we just want to help you get further along with your online business. So we look forward to having you join us there. And then, of course, if you're interested in learning more about any of our certification programs, make sure you check us out at fitchicksacademy.com. And we actually have our Holistic Nutrition Weight Loss Expert program starting on May 7th. We'd love to have you join us. If you want to learn more about that, make sure you check it out there if you want to get more certifications and get more specific in the nutrition area.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.